What if I told you the US Citizenship and Immigration Services is gearing up for a tech driven transformation in 2025? We are talking about something big, something that involves your company and the way you deal with H-1B registrations. Curious? Stick around as we peel back the. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, where we bring you insightful discussions on various immigration topics. I'm Rajni Bharara, your host. Today, we have our first and very special session with our very experienced immigration attorney, Uma Mantravadi. She is the founding attorney at Mantra Law Office. Being an immigrant herself, she brings to the table over 29 years of experience. She completed her Doctor of Jurisprudence degree from the University of Houston's prestigious law school and was admitted to the State Bar of Texas. Ms. Mantrawadi is highly respected in the field of immigration law and is personally involved in every case that she receives. She has an outstanding record of achieving successful results for her clients in the areas of immigration and family law. Uma also handles business law, family law, and real estate matters. And today, we are diving into a topic that's not just a game changer, but a whole new ball game in the world of immigration procedures. And now that we have a legal maestro in the house to guide us through it, get ready for a fascinating discussion about USCIS's groundbreaking move to launch organizational accounts, shaking up the way we handle H-1B registrations in 2025. Without any further ado, join me in welcoming attorney Uma Mantrawadi, everyone. Hi, Uma. Welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show.
Hi, Rajni. Good morning. How are you? Or good afternoon for some of the folks on the Eastern Zone.
Yes, good morning and good afternoon to everyone wherever you are watching it from, accordingly, good morning and good afternoon. And also, I would like to say that, Uma, as our audiences already know, that we were supposed to do this show, last week, but because, you were not well, you got sick all of a sudden, then we had to cancel it and we postponed it. And now we are doing our very first special episode. So how are you
Absolutely.
feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for giving me this break and to come back today with more vibrancy and to bring more information to you because we just got some very new information on the 2nd of February, which was last Friday.
Amazing, amazing. I can't wait to, reveal this information to our lovely audience. So, okay. Now, I would like to tell our audiences who's watching us from different platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please note, everyone, that I already have said it, but I'll say it again, that please note that this session is being streamed live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and the handle is Immigration Talk Show. And I'm very, very serious about this matter because it's about subscribing to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. So please don't forget to subscribe to us. I say this with a scary face, just to make our audience feel a little intimidated. Okay, if they don't subscribe to us, what if they don't get to watch new videos or new shows? But that won't be happening. But it's just my way to actually tell everyone that please do subscribe to us because we work really hard to bring you these episodes and these videos. So it will mean the world to us if you'll subscribe to us.
Absolutely.
All right. So now. Yes, thank you. And now, Uma, without any further ado, okay, there's a disclaimer on the screen, and it says that by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. Also, this disclaimer had to be, it needs to be out there. All right. So now I think we should not waste any more time and we should directly get into our first question.
Absolutely, Rajni. I'm looking forward to your questions.
All right. Okay. So, you already have said there's the question already there on the screen. But before I take up this question about, organizational accounts, because today we are talking about, organizational accounts. So we definitely are going to take up this question. But, when you said hi and hello to our lovely audience, you said that there is a lovely information that you would like to
Yes,
share with our viewers, which came on 2nd of February. So if you can
yes.
please talk about that and give this information to our lovely audience.
Sure. One of the very first things, of course, is that, this year, the fiscal year, we call it the fiscal year, is for the H-1B fiscal year for 2025 is going to be a game-changing rules that they have come up with. And one of the rules is setting up the organizational accounts for
Mhm,
employers and also the legal representatives, and who can set it up and why it
mhm,
needs to be set up. These are some of the things. And the second thing, the USCIS has announced that the organizational account setup date is going to be February 28th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Only then you can start, setting up your organizational accounts along with your legal representative, and you'll be assigning it to a person in your company who is authorized to set up these accounts. In the past, they didn't have that rule. So this is something that is coming up with the setup of the organizational accounts. I'm just giving you a preview of it, and we'll get into
mhm,
details as needed. And the
mhm,
other thing that the USCIS has announced is the dates of the registration. It's starting
mhm,
on March 6th, 2024, and it's ending
mhm.
on March 22nd, 2024. All this is on Eastern Standard Time at noon. So people need to be aware of the timings too. A lot of people missed out the boat even last year thinking it was Central Standard Time. So please bear in mind this is Eastern Standard Time. So
Mhm.
you need to be very, very sure because there are a lot of people who do things in the very last
Mhm.
minute. I'm
Right.
finger pointing anyone for whatever reasons they do it, but they just need to be careful about the time zone that this is
Mhm.
Eastern Standard Time.
Right. And yes, please go ahead.
And the other thing, there was a buzz around that the registration fee may go up to $215, but that is not the case. The USCIS has announced that it will still
Mhm,
keep the registration fee at $10.
mhm.
So these
Okay.
are the
Right.
things that, the little updates that we got. This is the final rule that they proposed, and it went into effect, and they brought it up last Friday on February
Mhm,
the 2nd. It was announced in the Federal Register, which has all the information about the USCIS organizational accounts and the H-1Bs for the fiscal year 2025.
right. Right. Thank you so much for giving out this information. And I would like to tell our audiences that we already have, in case you missed any information that Uma said right now, so you can go and watch one of our videos we recently posted regarding this update on our channel. So all our viewers who are watching us regularly on YouTube must be aware about this news, because we already have this video out on YouTube. So guys, you can go ahead, if you in case you missed any information, you can go ahead and watch that video. You will have all the information that you need about this particular news. All right, now as we can see that the topic and the question is already there on the screen. So let's talk about, because there must be a lot of people who must be wondering what organizational account is. So to them, if you can please explain what USCIS organizational accounts are and their purpose.
Sure. In the past, for the fiscal year 2024, Rajni, the employer just had to go and create an account, a registration of the account with just their address and the tax ID number. And that was all that was needed. And of course, the beneficiary's name, date of birth. And if they had a
Mhm,
passport, they included the passport number. And
mhm,
now what they're saying is you create an organizational account in conjunction with your legal representative. If you don't have one, that's fine too. But then there's more details to that. And they're going to give out that information on February the 28th. And they also want to know who is authorized to access this account. They want the person's name. And I'm assuming the reason for that is they want somebody to be held liable if there's going to be any intentional fraud that is created, so that one employee of the company is held liable for any kind of wrongdoing. Because in the past there
Right.
was no requirement for for any authorized employee to be out there to do this. Anybody in the company could have done it. The president or anybody, the receptionist, the admin, anyone. But now they're saying it has to be an authorized person who's authorized to create this account and will monitor these accounts in conjunction with their legal representatives. So I think there's going to be some liability issues if there's any fraud or any site visits that happen. They want to make sure everything is properly done, and it makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, it does. But if we talk about previous USCIS online systems, so
Mhm.
how are these accounts different from the previous, USCIS's online systems? If you can please talk about that as well.
As I mentioned just now, Rajani,
Uh-huh.
earlier it was a very limited amount of information that the
Okay.
employer was giving out. There was only 2 or 3 pieces of information: the name of the company, if they're doing business in a trade name, the tax ID number or the FEIN number, and also their address. But now they're wanting more detailed information, which is going to be available only on Feb 28th, when they actually start creating these accounts. And as I said, they want the name of the authorized representative who is going to be handling this account. Very specifically, they want that information.
All right. Okay. So they need more details basically. So that's why.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, and that's
Got it.
why. And what they've said is, now, if you have an account, if an employer has, for example, has created an account for the fiscal year of 2024, they can actually
Mhm.
update that account. So you don't
Okay.
have to start from scratch. You can actually
Mhm.
update that account to include any more information.
Okay. Got it. Got
For
it.
example, let's say
Um,
employer has moved since the last time. They can update that. They
mhm.
may be even asking how many employees do you have on your W-2s. They may, you may need to update that. So they're going to ask you more detailed information.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now that we know, how these accounts are different from the previous US CIS's online system, now let's talk about the impact on H-1B beneficiaries. So if you can please talk about, how do organizational accounts affect the experience of H-1B beneficiaries during the registration and application process?
Okay, very good question, because that is the crux of the whole thing for the fiscal year 2025.
Right.
The purpose of the USCIS coming up with the changed process, the biggest issue that they faced last year when they got almost 800,000 applications, the USCIS has said out of that, almost 50% were duplicates. And so this year they want to avoid doing a lottery system of the registration. They're now calling it a beneficiary centric registration, meaning they're going to pick the beneficiary's name, date of birth, and the passport number. They want a passport that will be used even in their H-1B filing. They want the same passport number registered for that beneficiary, and the lottery is going to be based on beneficiary access stricken. It's simply going not on the registration, which is previously more focused on the employer. This time it's going to be more focused on the employee, which is the beneficiary. So they want to make
Okay.
sure that there is no fraud in that. Now, coming to can there be multiple H1s filed for one beneficiary? The same employer cannot file multiple H1Bs for the same
Yeah.
beneficiary. But let's say there's company A, company B, company C, company D. They're not stopping them from filing various H1s for this same beneficiary. It's
Uh-huh.
interesting. They're not, they're actually saying, go ahead. we're going to pick the beneficiary based on the
Mm-hmm.
beneficiary, but you're going to
Mm-hmm.
use the same passport. Company A will
Mm-hmm.
use the same passport number. Company B is going to use the same passport number. Company C is going to use the same passport number. So there's no scope for any fraud over there. So if
Right.
this beneficiary is picked up, they're picked up. One beneficiary is picked up. Let's say, luckily, 4 employers, H-1B got picked up. They're 4
Mm-hmm.
different employers, but not the same employer, filing
Okay.
duplicates.
Yeah, right.
Because any duplicates, they're going to void that.
Right. Because, everyone should have a fair chance.
Exactly. This is the
Yeah.
whole idea of the fiscal year 2025 H-1B registration process being different. They want to avoid any kind of fraud because they want to give a fair chance to every beneficiary. Everyone is
Right.
equally important, whether they have got a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, as long as they qualify for the specialty occupation of an H1, they feel that everybody should get a fair chance at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everyone should. And also, one of the major problems that people have is about
Mhm,
tracking the progress of their application, right?
mhm.
So, so now I would like to know from you that can beneficiaries track the progress of their applications through these accounts, or is access limited to employers and only legal representatives?
I believe the organizational accounts are strictly restricted to the employer and their authorized representative and their
Uh-huh.
legal representative. Because if there's any kind of wrongdoing or somebody tries to duplicate anything or mess up their account, again, the employer is going to be held liable. So, how do we track? Even now, if an employee, the beneficiary, has a receipt number, they can actually go
Mhm.
to the USCIS website, and there is a
Right.
tool that says case status online, and they can actually track the case with the case number. So they don't have to go to the organizational account to do that. They can actually do it on the USCIS account, on the USCIS portal, and they can check it.
Okay. So also, Uma, if anything new comes up, so people always talk about the pros and cons and benefits and the losses. So let's talk about these organizational benefits also, or organizational accounts benefits also, because you already have told one benefit, which is, having less fraud and giving fair chance to everyone
Right.
so that, everyone will have a fair chance. But then if we talk about the primary benefits, so, what are the primary benefits of using organizational accounts for H-1B registrations?
One of the first things for the fiscal year 2025, Rajni, is that with the organizational account setup and the USCIS is this year giving
Mhm.
access to the employers to actually file the entire H-1B application online. This is the first time that they will be filing the I-129, I-129H, I-129W. If they're doing a premium processing, everything is filed online. Now, you may say,
Mhm.
what is the advantage of filing online? They're still
Mhm.
allowing even paper filing, but the advantage of filing online, Rajani, is if the employer wants the receipt right away, they get a
Mhm.
receipt right away. They don't have to wait. You know, this
Mhm.
is one of the advantages. By filing everything online, you get your receipt immediately. And that way, if your employee wants to know that have you filed, did you get a receipt? In the past, we had to mail everything. And during the cap season, sometimes it would take us a month and a half before we could see the receipts coming by mail.
Mhm. Okay.
Unless that was a premium processing that they filed in the first go, then you would get only the premium processing receipts within a week or so. But anything that was filed as a regular filing, which was strictly a paper filing last year, it almost took us a month or so to get us the receipts. Now, if your
Mhm.
employee is very anxious, they're on F1, OPT, they are
Right.
worried about their cap gap situations. They want to know if there is a receipt out there. So the online filing is going to help them to get the receipt immediately. At least,
Okay.
it gives people that satisfaction, so they don't have a nervous breakdown, both for the
Okay. Okay.
employer and the employee.
But then, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of benefits, but I'm sure, some people who file too many must also be sad because of this update and because of this news. Have you
Yes.
heard of any?
Uh,
Okay.
there's still some buzz going around in the IT community because, as you know,
Okay.
most of the H1s are filed by the IT companies throughout the US. I'm not saying one or I'm not naming anyone, but there is some buzz going around. And a lot of employers are not even wanting to do online filing for two reasons. This has not been completely tested by the USCIS for the H1 part of the online filing. The
Mhm.
USCIS has had I-90 forms filed or N400 files or some other applications, but they've never tested the H1 filing online. So we are not sure how the glitches are going to occur. Even as an attorney, I'm also having those question marks in my mind that hopefully the USCIS has good developers working, and we don't have any computer glitches. And
Mhm.
after all, this is a system. We hope it'll work fine, but we don't know that as yet. So for those people who fear, I don't want to do an online filing, I don't care if I get the receipt a month later, but I want to be
Mhm.
sure that my package went there with every single document that I'm submitting.
Mhm.
They can still do the paper filing. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
All right. Great. I mean, okay. So now, we are getting too many questions from our viewers on different platforms. As you can see, I mean, towards my right side, I can see a lot of many questions on YouTube, and from YouTube, LinkedIn, Anusha has posted a question, Shaukat has posted a question, Amzad has posted a question, and Praveen says, I want to know what questions you will cover in this meeting. Okay, Praveen, I hope by now you know what questions and what topic we are covering. So just stick around, we will cover a lot more questions. Now, I have one more question which I would like to, know from you. So,
Sure.
yeah, the question is, can beneficiaries get access to registration confirmation prior to lottery pickup?
That's
You know,
going to be up to the employer and the beneficiary or the employee. So, prospective employee, if the employer wants to share the registration with them, saying, hey, we've registered similar to what they did last year, if they want to share
Mhm.
it, that's between the employer and the employee. Again, as an attorney, we are not allowed to share anything until the employer allows me to share it with an employee or a prospective employee. So, I can't, as an attorney, reveal any confidential information again, but it's between the employer and the employee to go through whatever they want to, if they want to share it. And how many H-1B applications can we expect this year? This is a question from Anita. So Anita, we don't know. Last year they had 800,000 applications. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the discussion, out of that, they almost found 400,000 applications were duplicates. And last year, Rajani, in 2024,
Mhm.
they had revoked a lot of H1s,
Mhm.
and that's why they had a second round of lottery, and the pickups were announced sometime in July or August. I believe they had a second round of because of the revocation of some of the duplicates. So
Okay.
if they don't get their 85,000 applications by end of June, then or if there are duplicates again and there are revocations again, they will definitely go for a second lottery.
Okay. Okay. Great. So, Anita, I hope you have got the answer for your question. And Anita must be so happy that the attorney picked her, picked her herself. And so, Anita, lucky you. I'm a little jealous here. But anyways, you are a viewer, so just subscribe to the channel and the jealousy will be all over. Okay, now,
Absolutely.
yeah, now coming to again the benefits of organizational account to the topic. Now I have this one more question that I want to ask from you, and it is
Sure.
that how do these accounts, facilitate collaboration between companies and legal representatives?
As I said, Rajani, the organizational accounts are created by the employers, and they can do this in conjunction with the legal representatives. And the legal representatives also, like I have my own USCIS account. So
Hmm.
either I can add them to my account, or I can strictly keep these accounts separate with the employer and be able to access the account and be able to file it online for the employer. If the
Hmm.
employer wants the legal representative to file it online for them, the entire filing can be done online on behalf of the employer. And Rajani, I would highly, highly recommend employers for the fiscal year 2025 to absolutely use an attorney to do their paperwork, because this is the maiden year for all this, new policies that have come out with the USCIS,
Hmm.
and they may not be familiar with the process, and any mistake can be an expensive mistake for them. For example, if they've not put in the correct fee amount, the USCIS is coming out with new forms on April 1st, 2024. The
Hmm.
I-129 is changing on April 1st, 2024. The USCIS fees is changing on April 1st, 2024. The premium is going into effect with a new fee on Feb 26th, 2024. So there's going to be all kinds of fees. And also the new premium processing is usually 15 calendar days. Now they are changing that to 15 business days.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of changes coming about.
Uh-huh.
So this
Okay.
can be, if you're not keeping up with this every day, it's
Yeah.
going to be very, very nerve-wracking for the employer and the prospective employee. So, for us, we deal with this on a daily basis. For example, I'm a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. I get updates literally every day, sometimes every few hours. I do get updates from AILA as to what is changing. So
Right.
since we are up to date, we're able to figure out and do the right things for the employer and the employee.
Okay, okay, got it. And as you know, everyone, as the attorney said herself, just if you don't keep a track of every update that's happening in the immigration world, so it will be nerve wracking. So you already know, you don't have to have that anxiety or that apprehension of what is happening in the immigration world. All you need to do is subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, and your job will be done by us. We will provide you each and every update related to immigration and job world. So just go and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and every other social media platform, and you'll be good to go. I promise you that. All right. Now, coming to my next question. So, Uma, what happens is um, whenever we talk about filing a form, so, no, the first question that people ask is because they know. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a sad thing, but they know that because they are humans are tend to make mistakes. So they know that even if we tell them, you should not do this, you should do this, but even then they are going to make mistakes because, we all are humans after all.
Absolutely. We're all human.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So okay. So let's talk about some common mistakes that everyone should avoid. Okay. So the next question that I have is, so what are some common mistakes companies make during H-1B electronic registrations, and how should they avoid?
In Well, in the past, the registration for the employers was a very small application that they had to complete. And now with the organizational accounts being set up, which is going to have more detailed information, and Rajani, they haven't given the access to create the accounts as yet. That is going to happen on Feb 28th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So my advice to employers also is do not rush and do these things.
Okay.
First of all, read all the questions carefully. Every question has an underlying meaning to it. You need to make sure you're writing the right answers. For example, sometimes a simple question, I'll give it as an example. Let's say it asks, how many employees do you have in your organization? And typically, people don't know whether that means how many employees on a W-2 or a 1099.
Okay.
So they go ahead and include the 1099 workers into their roster of employees.
Right.
That is the wrong thing, because your 1099s are independent contractors. They're not your employees. So the employees are the only ones who are on your W-2 and not your 1099s. This is I'm just giving a very simple example, So I've seen a lot of employers making this mistake. And when they do that, and let's say they have a site visit from the DOL, or they have a site visit from USCIS, and they're saying, hey, you said you have 50, but then you're giving me only 25 W-2s. What about the rest of them?
Yeah.
Well, I meant to say my 1099s. And I'm like, 1099s are not your employees. So it's not a big crime, but it's still a mistake.
Yeah.
So my advice to the employers or their authorized representative or their legal representative, whoever is working in conjunction setting up these organizational accounts, please be careful in reading the questions, making sure you have the right answers. If you don't know, check with someone, do your research, make sure you give the right answers, and don't provide the wrong answer, because that can prove to be costly much later. As far as the employer providing information about the beneficiary in the registration, they need, of course, their name, their complete name, last name, first name, middle name. And these mistakes also occur. I've seen people coming and telling me, I never had a middle name, but the employer put my name as a middle name. That's Anil Kumar is my first name, but they put Anil as a first name, Kumar as a middle name. I don't have a middle name. So you need to make sure you give this rightly to your employer based on your passport, whether it's your first name or it's your middle name or whatever you have as a last name. If you don't have a last name, they're going to put it as LNU, that is last name unknown.
Okay.
If you don't have a first name, they're going to put it as FNU, which is first name unknown. Some people don't like that. So you need to make sure you have the right names in your passport also, so that your wrong names are not given.
Right. Whether you
Some
like
employers, yes, and some employers are still confused with the Indian system of the date of birth versus the American system of the date of birth. So sometimes I've seen people making that mistake. India has the month in the middle and the date first.
Yeah.
Whereas American system, you have the month first and the date later.
Yeah, right.
So I've seen people making that mistake, and so the date of birth is completely wrong.
Okay.
So they need to be careful about that as well.
Okay.
And then they have to put the correct passport, whatever passport you're going to be using. Should your H-1B be picked up, then you would be using the same passport. Now, I'll come and make an exception to that, which the USCIS has also made that flexibility. Rajni's, like, for example, if your passport is expiring and you need to renew, so you would be obviously giving a new passport when you file the H-1, that's fine. Or if, for example, you lost your passport and you had to file a new passport, you'll have to give the explanation that your passport number during registration was different and now you're filing it with a new passport. All these are, again, to avoid any frauds. They want these explanations so that, the USCIS is aware that we are not doing this only to avoid any fraud.
Mhm. Okay. So avoiding fraud is the major thing here.
Correct. Absolutely. 25, fiscal year 25 is all about that. They don't want employers committing any fraud intentionally. They don't want employees committing any fraud intentionally.
Okay. But then,
Mistakes happen.
yeah, I mean, Uma, also, soon elections are also going to happen in the US. So can we expect some drastic changes in immigration policies?
This year, usually during the election year, we don't see major changes to the policies, and whatever policy changes had to come
Uh-huh.
for the H1, we're already seeing that this was started in October of 2023 when they talked about, implementing a new policy, new system for the H1, which we are seeing right now. So this is the policy that will be going forward, other than maybe if there are any minor changes to forms or locations to file. Even that, they said the USCIS service centers will not be receiving these applications. It's all going to go to the lock boxes. So
Mhm.
those are the changes that we are already seeing. Now, will there be additional changes in the fees, in the forms, in the locations? That's always going to be a policy change. That doesn't require any congressional legal changes at the moment. But
Oh,
will we see, let's say, for example, if the Republicans come, will we see
yeah. Yeah.
major changes in 2020, year 2025? That's possible. That is
Mm.
very much possible.
Okay. So, all right, until anything happens, just brace yourselves and just, for now at least, you have clarity on what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. And if you're still confused, you can definitely drop in your questions here on Immigration Talk Show. We will be glad to take them. And everyone, I hope so far the session is informative and helpful to you. And if you need immigration help, don't forget to reach out to the legal maestro herself, Attorney Uma Mantravadi. You can call her at 713-787-5297. And also you can mail her at uma@mantralaw.com, and her website is www.mantralaw.com. All right. After this small information, I would now like to come to our viewers, because our viewers are very patiently waiting so that they
Absolutely.
come up on here on screen, and the attorney can take it. Because see, if we take I mean, if you take questions from people, so you generally charge money, and here it's free of cost, so they are then
Absolutely.
for it. Yeah. All right. So first viewer that we have is from YouTube, and the name is Julie Violet, and Julie wants to know: is USCIS issuing notice of intent to deny NOID on H-1B multiple registrations?
2024 H-1B registrations, they did do that. They actually issued a notice of intent to revoke, not just an intent to deny. If some employers got a notice of intent to deny, I think that was still, they were lucky because they gave them a chance to explain why they filed multiple H-1Bs. But some of the employers received a straightforward notice of intent to revoke because they found that the employer had filed multiple H-1Bs for the same employee. And these employees also had to go through a hard time, Rajani, because now they started working for the employer, they started getting paychecks, and then all of a sudden they received this NOIRs, and now suddenly they had to quit and then go either into a student status, or some of them even decided that they'll go back to India to avoid any problems.
Okay.
Now, what are we going to see in 2025 for
Mhm.
the fiscal year 2025?
Mhm.
Maybe similar to what they did last year, because they already have those policies in place. They already have the precedents that
Mhm.
they've created. So I'm pretty sure if they do see multiple fraudulent H1s being filed, I don't think they'll spare, they will not give an NOID, but they'll go straight and issue a notice of intent to revoke those H1s.
Okay.
Now, I am not sure if they will blacklist
Mhm.
any company. They haven't said that in their policies as yet, but we don't know if that can come about as well. If they will be, but I'm pretty sure there may be even site visits
Mhm.
more often that we may see for the fiscal year 2025 and 2024.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I hope Julie, was it right? Yeah,
Yes.
Julie. So Julie, I hope you have got the answer for your question, and thank you so much for answering it. And but now, because you have answered Julie's question, I also have my question, because I
Sure.
am a host, but I'm also a viewer because I'm also watching you, right? So
Yes.
okay, so a little question that I have is, if you can please tell the difference between intent to revoke NOIR and intent to deny NOID.
Yes. An intent to deny is the USCIS is coming and giving the employer an opportunity saying, we intend to deny because of A, B, C, D, E.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is our points that we think you don't deserve to get this H-1B for
Mm.
this employee. We think you are wrong in this, A, B, C, D, E.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you think we are wrong, you have an opportunity to rebut, meaning you can answer. You
Mm-hmm.
can tell us if we are wrong. Give us a rebuttal. That's what is an NOID. We're going to give you a chance. They give you about 30 days or 33 days or
Mm-hmm.
60 days, whatever the time period they're going to give you, and say, give us an answer. If you give us an answer, and if we think you are justified and your answers are well taken, then we'll continue with the case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if we don't think you've given us justifiable legal answers to it, justifiable documentation to it, justifiable to anything that they've said, then
Mm-hmm.
we are going to deny it because we gave you a chance and you didn't satisfy our requirements. So we're
Mm-hmm.
now going to deny it. Or if the employer is just silent, I'm not going to answer, I'm not going to do anything, it's still a denial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, notice of intent to revoke is saying, we're not giving you any chance to answer.
Mm-hmm.
We're not giving you anything to say.
Mm-hmm.
We're just informing you, FYI, we're
Mm-hmm.
revoking this H1.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And of course, if they feel again that the USCIS is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a right to appeal, but sometimes you have a right to file a motion to reopen.
Mm.
Okay, depending on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
But when you do an NOIR, there's no chance to rebut to the USCIS,
Okay.
meaning they've already made a decision, they're just informing you.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Thank you so much for answering my question, Uma. Now,
You're
one of
most welcome.
yeah, one of our another viewer is actually patiently waiting for their question to so we can take their questions, and the viewer is Kata Nithin. I hope I'm taking your name, Nithin. I'm taking your name right. If I'm not, please apologize. I mean, I apologize. I'm saying apologize as if he should, or but then okay, I'm really sorry if I'm not taking your name right. Okay, so Nithin wants to know how USCIS, okay, is going to track
Mhm.
the ticket registrations filed from different employers.
Okay,
Mhm.
good question, Nitin, Katta Nitin. As I had mentioned right in the beginning of this discussion, the H-1B registrations and the lottery pickup for this year, for the fiscal year 2025,
Mhm.
is all beneficiary access based, meaning they're going to pick up the lotteries based on the beneficiary as opposed to what it was based on purely employer registrations last year.
Mhm.
Okay. What that means is they're going to pick with the name of the beneficiary, the date of birth, and the passport number. As I mentioned, every employer is going to use the same passport number for this employee,
Mhm.
prospective employee. So let's say A, B, C, D, E has filed for me, my H1, Uma. So they're going to have the same passport number, same date of birth. So when they pick up, they're picking up with the same name, and they will notify employer A, maybe B is not picked, C is picked, maybe D is not picked, maybe F is picked. So they'll inform Uma's H1 got picked up, and now you can go ahead and file it.
Mm-hmm.
So the multiple duplicate registrations, but from different employer, not the same.
Okay. Okay.
They're not discouraging different employers. My H1 can be filed from IBM, from Microsoft, can be filed by Reliance or AT&T, different employers.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm lucky, it gets picked by 3 employers or 2 employers or 1 employer. But
Mm-hmm.
they are basing it on the beneficiary. So the information is the same for all 5 or 10 employers.
Okay. Okay. Now,
But if they find that for Uma, they put passport number XYZ, and then for employer B, they have a passport number ABC, that's where the fraud comes up.
okay. Thank you so much, Uma, for answering the question. Nitin, I hope you have got the answer for your question. Now, I would like to move to another viewer, and the viewer name is Hadi. So, and Hadi has posted this comment on YouTube, and Hadi wants to know on STEM OPT, F1 visa expires July 2024. Last year's H1B not selected, reapplying in March, concerned about lottery, one attempt left, but F1 visa ends in July 24. Seeking advice on options.
Well, you still have to try your H1, if you're from India, particularly, as you know, the EB2, EB3 waiting period is about 20 to 25 years. So obviously, you cannot file for your EB2, EB3 and not have a valid legal status here while you're in the United States. Once your STEM OPT completes, you'll either have to go to an H1. And luckily, if you're picked on the H1 in the master's quota, then you're good to go. And if you're not, the only other option is for you to go back, either do a PhD or another master's program. That would be beneficial to you, and then continue to stay here. And let's say if you didn't get picked in the first pick of the lottery, like I said, if the USCIS feels like they have not received enough applications for the lottery, they may do a second lottery. And if you're lucky, you get picked in the second lottery, then you're in for the fiscal year of 2025. But if you don't, those are the only options for you, is to either think about going back to school, either doing another master's or a PhD that is related to your program. And maybe if you do a PhD, then maybe you were lucky to go into an EB1A or an EB1B and cut the long lines of EB2, EB3, because that way, you don't have to wait those 20, 25 years.
Okay, okay. So, Hadi, as you said, you have one last, I think, attempt. So I wish you all the best. And also, I hope you have got the answer for your. So wishing you all the best. And now I would like to take Sakshi's question. Sakshi has posted this on YouTube. And Uma, because this is your first show, I would like to tell you that I would always like to say, where the question has been posted, whether on
Sure.
LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, so that, people should
Sure.
know that we are streamed live on different platforms. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Sakshi wants to know, I was in a US for 6 years at a stretch from 2017 to 2023. Visa maxed out in August 2023. I don't have 140 and returned back to India. Am I eligible for fresh H-1B filing for 2024, 2025?
As long as you remain outside the United States, actually, for 1 year, you can come back after 1 year. And luckily, you don't have to be subject to the cap after 1 year, because Sakshi was in an H-1B in the last 6 years. So she's not subject to the cap, but she's subject to the 1 year period that she has to remain outside the US. And then she can come back if an employer is willing to file an H-1B without being subject to the cap H-1. That is the best part of it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Sakshi, I hope you've got the answer for your question. And everyone, I mean, it's just, okay, I was about to say it's just 50 minutes, but it's 50 minutes into the show and it did not feel like, 50 minutes. It's feeling like as if we are 5 or 10 minutes into the
That's
show because
true.
the show is so informative and so engaging at the same time. So thank you so much for your valuable, knowledge, for sharing your valuable knowledge, Uma. And
My
also,
pleasure, Rajni. And, I believe that, the community has given so much to me, and it's time for me to give back something to the community. Doesn't matter what part of the world we come from, we're all humans first, and later on, whatever country we belong to. But we all come for a common reason
mm,
to have a better life and to establish our families here. So, I am so glad that you asked me to join and do this show, and I'll be glad to do it as many times as you want me to do it.
thank you so much. Means a lot. It truly means a lot. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's take up another viewer question. And the question is from Amzad. And Amzad has posted this on YouTube. And Amzad wants to know, I'm
Uh-huh.
currently enrolled in day one CPT, and my F1 visa from first master's is expired. I want to know if anyone has traveled to India on day one CPT, got F1 stamped again, and re entered US. Okay.
I don't know if anyone has done it particularly, but there can be issues whenever you're on a day one CPT. Amjad, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
Okay. Amjad, the reason being not just the consulate, but even when you apply for an H-1B, the USCIS always questions those students who enroll into a program which says you can get a day one CPT, because they believe that you're coming to the US to go to school for engaging in a serious educational program and not just coming here to work on a CPT. The CPT is only if it is a part of the curriculum, and if it is generally in your second or third semester, they're okay with that because that's part of the curriculum.
Mm.
But sometimes they're not very happy if even if your university says, well, this is a part of the curriculum and this we allow this to happen day one, they still interpret it that you're not come here to educate yourself, which is the main purpose, but you've come here only to engage in a gainful employment. And if
Mm.
that's how the consular officer also looks at it when you go for your stamping, then he or she may give you a 221G and hold you back. So my advice is if you don't have to travel, please don't travel.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Amzad, I hope your question is answered. Thank you so much for posting your question. And don't forget to subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. All right. Our next question is from Anusha. And Anusha wants to know, she has posted this on YouTube. And Anusha wants to know, I'm currently on H-1B and have visa stamped till
Mhm,
2025. However, my
mhm.
passport is due for renewal in May 2024. Can my passport be renewed in the US? And do I have to go for stamping again?
Don't have to. If you already have a stamping in your old passport, you can carry both the passports with you,
Mhm.
and you can get your Indian passport renewed in the United States. And if you have to travel, of course, the airlines require that you have a minimum validity of at least 6 months. Otherwise, usually they won't let you travel on a flight. So yes, the answer is you can absolutely renew it and carry both the passports, one which has your stamping and the new one, which is valid for whatever time.
All right. So, Anusha, your Monday is made. I'm sure now you might not be having your Monday blues, and your Monday blues are by now gone after that Kelly has answered your question. So, thank you so much, Anusha, for posting your question. Now, I would like to take another viewer question. And the next question
Sure.
we have is from Pawan. And Pawan has also posted this on YouTube. Pawan wants to know, is everyone in the company have access to edit and submit the documents other than administrator? Please explain.
That again depends on the employer, and as per the USCIS requirement for the organizational accounts, they want a designated individual who's going to handle this account. They don't want, each and everyone handling it, because again, I think it all comes back to liability issues. If something goes wrong, let's say, there are too many cooks handling this, and
Mhm.
if everyone is pushing the blame onto the other person, well, I didn't do it, and she did it, or he did it, then again, who's to be held responsible? And that's one of the reason I think the intent behind the USCIS saying designate one individual to handle this organizational account, so that that individual will be held responsible if anything wrong is uploaded, even wrong documents. Let's say they're filing an H1 for Uma and they uploaded the documents for Malini.
Mhm.
So, they know that, the whoever is the authorized representative would have made a mistake. That's fine. They can say, we made a mistake. Instead of Oma, we uploaded Malini's paperwork.
Mhm.
It was purely a mistake. And if there is an RFE, then they can give that explanation. But if they say, X was handling, now Y is handling, now Z is handling, then suddenly A is handling, of course there are change of employees in every company. Now if X was handling and X is gone and Y is now the authorized representative, then that's what it's going to be. And if required, then the employer should notify the USCIS that X is no longer with us and Y will be handling. If there is such issues that come up, there's always going to be, change in employees. Nobody is there forever. So
Mhm.
those things can be, but I don't know if they want to give this access to everyone. I doubt if the employer will want to do that.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so Pawan, I hope you have got your answer. Thank you for your question. And after Pawan, the next question that we have is from a viewer called Baldeep. And Baldeep has also posted this on YouTube. And Baldeep wants to know, I am on H-1B and traveling to India for Dropbox visa stamping. I work for an IT company and currently put on bench without a project. Would it affect my case to get stamping without a US client?
If the US consular officer wants to know where you're going to be working, who is your end client, what is your project, or who is your vendor, and if you don't have a project, obviously they will not be happy in issuing an H-1 visa. They don't want just people going to the United States and sitting on a bench. That is the whole purpose. They want you to be gainfully employed, doing a project for your employer, whether you go through a vendor or directly to your end client. They want to make sure you're actually on a project. So I don't think the consular officer would be happy if they know that you don't have a project. And then what is your purpose of going back to the US if you don't have a project? You might as well wait in India till you actually get a project. And then once you have that, you can show that. And then I don't think it will be an issue. And secondly, even the CBP can ask you documents. Who are you going to work if you're coming to Houston? Is your end client in Houston? Or are you working remotely from Houston? Who are you going to be working for? They would also ask the same or similar questions, so it's not just the consulate. You'll even have questions at the US port of entry.
Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Baldeep. I hope you have got the answer for your question. Thank you for posting the question and don't forget to subscribe to us. Now we have actually a follow-up question from one of our viewer. I mean, you already have answered his question if you remember Katta Nitin. So you have right. So, but he has again posted a follow-up question and he wants to know how USCIS is going to track the duplicate registrations filed from different employers.
I think I've answered that already.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be from the beneficiary's name. As I said, this is all beneficiary centric lottery that I had mentioned this year for the fiscal year 2025. Since it is all beneficiary focused, they'll go by the name, date of birth, the passport number. So they'll be able to find out.
Okay, and he also says, is that true that dependents of H-1B visa holders is going to get automatic work authorization?
No, there's
That's
no
not
such policy.
okay. All right,
Only
so
people, the H-1B dependent spouses who are on H-4s can only get a work permit if the H-1B principal applicant is got an I-140 approved. Then they can file for an H-4 EAD, and the H-4 EAD has to be approved. Even that is not automatic.
all right, okay. Okay, so Nitin, I hope if you have if you have any more questions, any more follow up questions, you definitely can send them. But I think it's already an hour into the show. But if you have few more minutes, I would like to take one or two more
Sure,
questions.
sure. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the next question that we have is from Tina, and Tina has also posted this on YouTube. And Tina wants to know, okay, attorney, before I ask you this question, I hope you're also enjoying the show.
I'm absolutely enjoying it.
Great, great, lovely. Our audience is lovely, actually. So, they have this great enthusiasm for questions. All right. So,
Absolutely.
Tina wants to know regarding H-1B stamping pilot program in USA. If you know what time slots will be open today and which site needs to follow for booking slot and doing the visa payment.
You'll have to go to the travel. I think I've put it up also on my Facebook page. If you can go to that, everything is there, and there are dates when they're opening up these domestic stamping, and the payments and everything are made through the website. Just like you would go to the US consulate website to make your payment. Similar to that, this is all monitored through the State Department. So if you go to travel.us, I've given this information on my Facebook account. Please go to that and you'll get all this information. And if you don't, please send me an email. I'll be glad to give you that information via email to you.
All right, as the attorney has herself said, if you need any immigration help, just don't forget to reach out to Uma Mantravadi. You can call her at 713-787-5297. This is calling information, and you can also mail her at, like she said, on her mail ID, which is uma@mantralaw.com, or you could also visit her website, which is www.mantralaw.com. All right. So after this, shall we take one more question?
Sure.
Okay. So the question is from Maunima. Okay. Maunima wants to know, has posted this on
Mhm,
YouTube and wants to know, my company is willing to sponsor me for H1 and they told me to
mhm,
hire an attorney myself.
mhm.
What documents do I need from the company, and how does the timeline work, and how does the ballet work?
Okay. I don't know about the word ballet, but how does the timeline work?
I'm not
Now,
sure
the
if I
regist
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I'm not sure if I pronounced it. It's ballot, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what the word ballot means, but let me explain. The registration period opens up on March 6th and ends on March 22nd, 2024 at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Now, this is the time that the registrations are done, and
Mhm.
the lottery is announced starting, I believe, March 31st, and it can be even earlier than March 31st. And the applications are going to be filed between April 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024.
Mhm.
Now, you said that your employer wants you to hire an attorney, and what documents do you need from the employer? That's
Mhm.
something the attorney will discuss and give you. I'm sure they'll give you a checklist of documents, what is needed from the employer, what is needed from the employee. If your name is picked up in the lottery, they'll give you all that information. So that depends on who your attorney is, and you'll have to talk to them at that point in time as to what documents are needed. Of course, you have a 90-day window to file this, and I would again make sure that everything is given properly. You can either do an online filing or you can do a paper filing.
Mm-hmm.
The only advantage of the online filing is you get a receipt quickly. You can still do a paper filing, and there's nothing wrong with paper filing.
Okay. Okay. And I think by ballot she means lottery. Monima, I hope you're referring by ballot, you're referring to lottery. So if she's referring to lottery, so how does the ballot work? As in, how does the lottery work? Would you like to take
Well,
this?
they have to register
Uh-huh.
between March 6th to March 22nd. If you're
Mhm.
the lucky one, you get picked up, then your employer will be notified of the lottery between March, possibly between March 23rd, 24th through the 31st of March. And if they're still running beyond that date, also they'll be notified.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Monima, thank you so much for your question. I hope you have got your answer. Now, next viewer that we have is Nicholas. And Nicholas wants to know, okay, the name is Nicholas Watson. Nicholas wants to know, can a non-manager colleague provide a notarized affidavit for my H-1B RFE response, considering my employer's unawareness of the process? Will USCIS contact the colleague?
I have no idea what you mean by providing a colleague's notarized affidavit for an RFE. So unless we know the details of the RFE and why is the colleague providing an affidavit and not the employer, typically the employer has to respond to the RFE. If the employer doesn't know how to do this, he or she should be contacting an attorney, and I'm sure an attorney will be happy to guide them as to do this. And I am an expert in RFEs. I've done, I don't know, some thousands of RFEs, and we were never typically had a denial unless the employer has failed to give us the documents as per the RFE. Now, if I don't know how a colleague can answer that because they're not an authorized representative for the employer to be doing this. So typically that should not be the way to do it. And I don't think even the USCIS will accept. They'll possibly even deny that response. And once it's denied, you lose the H-1B. So I would not venture into responding it in that way.
Okay. All right. So, Nicholas, I would just like to say, you must have heard Nipasa say this. I mean, Nipasa is one of our other hosts. She also, she said this in one of our shows. So I'm just, following what she said. She said, if you are sick, don't talk to the patient, rather go talk to the doctor. So here, if you need any, a legal advice or legal help, just don't go anywhere else but to the attorney herself, or
Absolutely.
right. Okay. So now next question that we have is from Anita. Okay, so let's take up Anita's question, and Anita wants to know, um, Anita wants to know. Okay, Anita just says we are enjoying it too. I'm so glad to know that you're also enjoying it, Anita. Thank you so much. Just don't forget to subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And you already, she has posted this on Facebook. She's already watching us on Facebook. Timeline of H-1B results, please. Okay, she also have a question now. She wants to know.
It's the same thing what I just said. The lottery period is for the fiscal year 2025 is going to be between March 6, 2024 through March 22nd, 2024. And
Mhm.
hopefully the results are going to be between 23rd of March, or could be later than that. Through March 31st, we should be expecting the results of the lottery.
Okay. All right. Okay, so after Anita, shall we take one last question?
Sure.
Okay, so one last question is from Alex, and Alex wants to know, my I-140 was approved 4 years back, EB2
Mhm.
India, in bracket, he has written, and I changed employer in 2022. Um, do I need to apply for perm again for H-1B extension, or I can use my old approved I-140 to file H-1B extension in 2025?
You can absolutely use the I-140 that was approved from your previous employer
Mhm.
for all your extensions. You don't need to file another perm and another I-140 unless you're wanting to now go into an EB3, you want to change that, then if you feel that is a better suitable job for you and you want to file it under EB3 with your new employer, you can do that. But as far as extending your H-1B, you don't need to do that.
Okay. Okay. All right, Alex. I hope you have got your answer now, because we already have, we are in 1 hour 10 minutes into the show, so it's really engaging and really really informative show. So thank you so much for extending the show time. It was supposed to be an hour,
Absolutely.
then we went for another 10 minutes. Okay, one last question. One last question before I let you go.
Sure.
Sure, you must be
Sure.
really busy. But then, okay, one last question is the last question is from David. I mean, not the last question from the viewers. We still have too many questions here, but then because we have less time, so David wants to know: I was on H-1B from 2016 to December 2022, with stamping in 2018. Switched to H4, stamped in Jan 2023, and returned to USA in Feb. Transition back to H-1B in March. Am I eligible for domestic stamping in the USA?
I believe you are, but you'll have to apply and see. They have very limited domestic visa stamping because this is a pilot program. And if you're from India, yes, they're allowing people from India, particularly the domestic stamping is catered so that the backlog that we are facing in India will be reduced, which is why they've come up with this pilot program of the domestic stamping. So you may be eligible for that, but you'll have to apply and see. And as I said, they have very limited number of stamping that they are doing in the domestic stamping. So we don't know how many people will get it, but there's no harm trying for that. And if you don't, you can always apply for a visa at the US consulate, even in Mexico. You can do that. And if you can't do it there, then of course, India is still an option for you to go get a stamping.
Okay, okay. So, David, I hope you have got your answer. And now, after David, I think it's time now that I should let you go, because I mean, it's Monday, and I'm sure that you must be really really busy with your work. So,
Yes.
thank you so much, Attorney Uma, for coming to the show and taking out time and doing the show. It truly means a lot for us here at Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and I hope we can continue this conversation if need be. The next time, we can do it as a to be continued, because I think the hot topic for everyone right now is going to be the H-1B,
Right.
organizational accounts, registration, and the change in forms, change in fees, change in locations. I'm sure there's more to come in the next week or so. And whatever information that I gather, I'll be glad to share it with your viewers, Rajni. Thank you for
Thank you.
asking me to be a part of Immigration Jobs Talk Show, and I look forward to many more such engageful discussions with all the people who are watching us, listening to us, and hope to see many more questions coming from them.
Definitely, I still have too many questions that I need to ask from you on this particular topic, and I also have too many questions posted here from our viewers. So we definitely can, do to be continued, and we can have an episode 2 of this particular topic next time.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you have a wonderful day, and wishing everybody all the very best for the coming fiscal year 2025 H-1B registration. I wish everyone the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And everyone, if you're looking for project placement or visa sponsorship, please reach out to me on my email, which is rajni at higherightpeople.com. My contact ID by now, you should have it. It's 732-707 9151, or you could also visit our website, which is www.higherightpeople.com. And remember, we also sponsor H-1B visas and green cards. And that wraps our insightful discussion today. A big thank you to Attorney Uma for sharing her expertise and shedding light on the nuances of our topic. If you, a fantastic audience, have any further questions, or if there's a topic you would like us to cover in future shows, feel free to drop us a message. We'll be back with more engaging conversations next time. Until then, keep watching this space for all immigration and jobs related updates. And don't forget to subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Are you an IT consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H-1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 833-412-8472 or mail us at support@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.